Do you have to drink right now? Hello, underachievers. So I may have told a little lie. A cheeky little itty-bitty lie. And you've read the title of the video. So, what is a birth name? A birth name is a name that somebody was given at birth. Usually trans people will not use their birth name anymore, and that's why they'd refer to it as a dead name, because it is dead. Although there are some trans people that will just keep their birth name, like they won't change their name. I don't know why I find it so cool, but there's a trans girl I know called Sean. I just think that's sick. Like, imagine having the guts to be a girl called Sean. Like, that's so sick. So this is my video, and we'll be talking about me. So I came out as trans online in 2017, so 3 years ago, and the discussion of my birth name online. Like most trans people, I didn't want people knowing my birth name. I'll get onto why later. But yeah, I never told anyone my birth name. If they didn't know me from off the internet, they would not know my birth name. Apart from like a select few friends. I refuse to tell the internet my birth name.
Before you comment asking me what my birth name is, I'm not going to tell you. Don't make the effort. Don't bother. I'll block you anyway.
Up until last year. My birth name's Olivia. Now, I don't know how to break this to you guys, but my birth name is not Olivia. Olivia is not my dead name. It's never been a name that I have referred to myself as. No one has ever known me as Olivia. This is not the first time I've lied about my birth name. So I've had people in real life ask me what my birth name was, and I don't remember specifically a name that I gave them, but I gave different people a bunch of different names, so I hope they never end up talking about it. Online though, I've told people that my birth name was Portia. I think I've said my birth name was Emily once, and then before I even came out online, I posted a picture of myself with long hair and said that it was my twin sister Natalie, and then of course when I did eventually come out as trans, people assumed that my birth name was Natalie. The point is, I've told so many different people different birth names. I pride myself on being honest. Like, I'm painfully honest. I haven't put out any other lies out there, but like the main reason I gave out this lie, I just thought it'd be really funny to give people this information that they so badly craved and just like see what happens. I was also a bit curious about how people would react to a name that they thought was my birth name. Like, would people say, oh yeah, you look like an Olivia, I can see that? Or would people be like, oh, that name really doesn't suit you? I also wanted to see that if I did actually give out my birth name eventually, would people try and use that information against me? And they did. Which honestly is not a surprise to me. I have haters out there. There are literally people that have my YouTube notifications on so that they can dislike all my videos as soon as they're uploaded. Honestly, the whole reason I made this video was because I received these comments and I just had to talk about them. So, Sonoki82 says, Olivia Adams, aka Noah Fint, is a mostly straight female. On the Kinsey scale of sexual orientation, anything from 1 to 5 is bisexual, with 1 being straight and 5 tilting gay. Olivia would be a 1 or 2. Now, this is incorrect. I am, in fact, bisexual. I know maybe my coming out video was a bit confusing, but there are a lot of people telling me like, oh, maybe you're demi, like, maybe you're bi-curious. No, I am bisexual. I just have a confusion. The confusion isn't about, like, if I'm bi or not anymore, I guess. So Marcus Truman responds, you do know that's not actually his birth name and that video was a joke, right? Sonoki82 responds, it is her name, it has been confirmed. Marcus says, it hasn't, LMAO, he made that video with a made-up name answering the question as a troll. That's what's funny, the fact that you actually believed it. And then Sonoki82 says, it was independently confirmed. I don't know where this information was independently confirmed. My name was never Olivia. I'm not trying to backtrack on that birth name video, genuinely. I gave out a fake name, my birth name was not Olivia. They said it was revealed by her ex-friend who exposed her. I think maybe they saw my video where I was outed by an ex-friend and he exposed my actual birth name, but like, there's no way they got in contact with him. Marcus Truman says, I'm not even arguing because I know for a fact that it's not his birth name, lol, but you can believe what you want. And then they just respond, her name is Olivia Adams, say her name. Now, to be honest, this is exactly what I was expecting would happen when I came out with my birth name video. So why do trans people not want people to know their birth name? Why is it such a bad thing to ask someone their birth name? Why won't I release my birth name? So to a lot of trans people, their birth name is a very personal thing that will remind them of their past, which a lot of trans people have a kind of painful past. Obviously, I can only speak in detail about my experience with a birth name. An easy way I explain it to cis people is in like, how to try and make them understand how it feels is relating it to a traumatic experience. So for me, like, living as a girl, being perceived as a girl, being treated as a girl, and looking in the mirror and seeing a girl was a traumatic experience for me. Like, my gender dysphoria was the worst. It was so bad. There are days where I'd get out of bed, see myself in the mirror, and then just go straight back into bed like I wouldn't eat. I hated myself so much purely because I was born a girl. And hearing my birth name was a reminder of that stuff I went through. After coming out, and like even before coming out, hearing that name in relation to myself was just like a horrible experience, and it's not really something that I can explain that you will absolutely understand, but it was not fun. So after I came out as trans and I told people my name was Noah, my heart used to go crazy when I heard my birth name. Because obviously I'd heard that name in relation to me my whole life, and I'd assumed that when I heard that name, someone was speaking about me or to me. It was a horrible experience because either one, somebody had forgotten that my name was Noah and they had accidentally dead named me, and that's just an entirely uncomfortable situation. Like, being dead named sucks because it's a reminder of, like, the stuff you went through, but also it's just, like, a really awkward situation. Here's a tip. When you accidentally dead name somebody, because it is bound to happen if you know a trans person, it happens accidentally, don't make a big deal out of it. Don't be like, oh no, I'm sorry, that's not your name, I'm so bad, I'm so sorry, I feel so stupid. Literally, just say, oh, sorry, and then say their actual name. If your dead name was Brenda, and you are now going by Mark, I'd be like, oh, Brenda, oh, sorry, Mark. And then continue with my sentence. I don't make a big deal out of it because it's so uncomfortable. I can make a whole video about this. It was also horrible because when I heard it, I could, you know, either assume that somebody had forgotten my name, or I could assume that, you know, they were trying to hurt me with this information. They were trying to hurt my feelings by calling me my dead name. I already had, like, so many hate pages online because I was trans. People thought that I was lying. I had people, like, trying to out my dead name, trying to out where I went to school, trying to out where I live, trying to out my parents' names, just like dreadful stuff. Like, people just wanted to release my information to screw with me. So I already had that experience with my dead name, which was, you know, the worst. Like, the whole dead name situation would just make me so anxious. Even in public, if somebody had my dead name, I would just get immediately anxious, and I knew that they weren't referring to me with that name, but just even hearing it, it just, like, sparked something in my brain that was like, hey, danger! So, after coming out and passing and having people, you know, refer to me as Noah, that's changed my experience with my birth name. Nobody in my life calls me my birth name, literally nobody. Like, I meet people now that I hadn't seen since before I transitioned, and they will call me Noah now. It's honestly gotten to the point where I don't associate that name with myself. Like, that whole part of my life in association with that name kind of feels like a blur, kind of. Like, I look at myself in the mirror and I don't think, dead name. And if I heard it right now, I wouldn't turn around to respond to it. My brain wouldn't immediately think, oh, they're talking about me, and turn around. The only reaction I have to it now is like, oh, lol, that was my old name. Although, I am, you know, I'm sure that if I had a really bad day, I was feeling really bad, and then someone either accidentally or purposely called me that name, I don't know how I'd feel about that. I don't know what my reaction would be. That's not happened, but, you know, like, I'm not 100% recovered. I don't know if recovered is a word. I'm not 100% over it. So for all of those reasons above, I am not actually telling people my actual birth name. For all those reasons above, you should not ask a trans person their birth name. For all those reasons above, you should not assume that you are entitled to that information from a trans person. For a lot of people, that name brings back a lot of pain. It gives somebody a lot of power over a trans person. It's just not a good time. I don't care how curious you are. It's not information you need to know. I think we should have a fun thing in the comments. You guys should comment my next birth name, as in, like, what next name I'll say my birth name is, and whoever gets the most likes, that'll be it. But yeah, that's the end of the video. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a good day. I don't. See you later, losers. Goodbye. I give you punch, and I give a little rat punch. Please, can I have you? Thank you. I love you so much. You can't even see me.